Good evening and welcome to the Candidate Forum for DeKalb County Board, District Number 10. It's hosted by the League of Women Voters of DeKalb County in partnership with WNIJ. My name's Catherine Williams and I'm from the League of McHenry County. The League of Women Voters is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for an office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in the government. Providing these forums allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing your community and to be better acquainted with those that are running for office. We're happy to provide this service to the community. The League of Women Voters is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of the statements that candidates make in this forum. Questions from the League and community members have been collected before the forum and were screened for duplication, clarity, and appropriate for being the office discussed. The candidates have not been provided these questions before the forum. The candidates agreed to the ground rules that no voice, image, or other duplication of this forum may be used in any candidate's representative or campaign in any advertising. The forum is going to be available on different WNIJ platforms, including Facebook Live. I've been asked to announce that WNIJ reserves the right to mute comments from persons who do not follow WNIJ's social media policy. This forum is among the candidates, again, seeking DeKalb County Board District Number 10. By participating, all the candidates have agreed to abide by the rules set forth. Each candidate will present a 1-minute introductory statement in order set alphabetical by last name. Then the questions will be asked and they'll have 1 minute to respond. And then at the end, closing statements will be 1 minute as well. An electronic timer is being used and the candidates will adhere to that time. So let's welcome our candidates. They can unmute and turn their cameras on. Yeah. Great, thank you very much. Yeah. Candidates, just be sure that when the timer reaches 0, you can finish your sentence, but then you do need to stop. The 3 candidates for District 10 tonight are Mary Kozad, Suzanne Willis, and Susan Lindell. We'll start with an opening statement, and we'll start with you, Mary. 1 minute opening statement.
Okay, thank you. As you know, my name is Mary Kozad, and I'm seeking re-election to the DeKalb County Board, District 10, located for the most part on the south side of the city of DeKalb. I am a retired NIU Spanish professor. I've lived in DeKalb for 37 years and have a long history of public service, including 8 years on the DeKalb District 428 School Board, and volunteer work for the National Breast Cancer Coalition and the American Cancer Society. I have volunteered for many state, local, and federal candidates. I am a fluent speaker of Spanish. I have now served for 2 years on the board, and I consider service on the county board as both a continuation and culmination of my previous public service. I have particularly enjoyed constituent service, helping my constituents to solve problems. County board service is a lot like school board service in that many of our tasks may seem routine until they aren't. A clear example being the county nursing home and solar energy.
Thank you, Mary. All right, Susan Lindell, a 1 minute opening statement.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me to participate in this forum. I am a 51-year resident of DeKalb County and have been involved with the community services almost the entire time I've been in DeKalb. I was a coordinator of a crisis pregnancy center that serviced the university community and the entire county. I was a catechist at St. Mary Parish, and currently I am a church musician, cantor, and reader. I also served on our parish council and the liturgy commission. More recently, I functioned as the treasurer of St. Vincent de Paul, which gave me insight into the financial problems that many people in this community are facing. I have taught fitness classes at our local YMCA for 28 years. I think that the breadth of my community involvement has given me a unique perspective into the issues that face our community.
Thank you. And now Suzanne Willis, 1 minute opening.
Thank you. I'd like, as others, I'd like to thank the League and WNIU and NHH for making this forum possible. I'm Suzanne Willis. I'm a Democrat running for re-election to District 10. I've been on the county board since 2016, and I've lived in the city of DeKalb for 34 years. I taught at Northern. I'm since retired. I was a professor of physics there. I think the most important thing that the county board does is exercise responsible stewardship of taxpayer money. We need to maximize the output that we get while minimizing the input that we take from the citizens. And I could talk about this more a little bit later, but we've done some things recently with the budget and with the tax rates that I'm very proud of, that will be beneficial to all the citizens. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. First question. Candidate Lindell, we'll start with you. What relevant experience do you bring to this office?
I think that my credentials speak for what I can bring to the office of county board. I'm a certified public accountant, a business owner, and a former instructor at Northern Illinois University. These experiences have provided me with a lot of business and financial skills that would be required for the position. However, I think that the most important and relevant experience I had to prepare me was being a single mother for 13 years. I learned to prioritize finances and make hard decisions as to what is an essential expenditure and what isn't. I had to learn to juggle my time between my work life, sometimes working 4 jobs, with my home life and with the quality of time I could spend with my son. I feel that this experience in particular prepared me to be sensitive to the needs of others while also being financially responsible.
Thank you. Candidate Willis, what relevant experience do you bring to this office?
Well, I've been on the board since 2016, and it's been quite the learning experience. I also, when I was at NIU, I held various leadership and shared governance positions. I was a department chair, I was a dean, I was president of the faculty senate. And so that's also given me a lot of insight into dynamic relationships between people taking leadership positions. I also am the single mother of a son, and so I identify with Susan on that. And I think one thing that I bring is a perspective that maybe not quite as common as the other ones. As a physicist and as a scientist, this brings me to be very factual based. I look for facts. I want to base my decisions very much on facts as much as possible. So I think that's special too.
All right, thank you. Mary, what relevant experience do you bring to this office?
Okay, most recently, I would say it is my 2 years of service on the county board. I am an incredibly conscientious board member. I read every word of every backup material that we are given along with the agenda. And if I don't understand something, I ask about it, I do research. My years of teaching have helped me reach out to people, and I think, very good constituent service. I'm ready to help constituents if they have questions. 20 years ago, I spent 8 years on the DeKalb School District 428 board, and I was, also that kind of a member. Very conscientious, very hardworking, very focused. A little OCD doesn't hurt. Okay.
Thank you, Mary. All right. Second question, and Candidate Willis, will start with you. What do you see as a major challenge currently facing the county board, and how will you work to resolve them?
Okay, well, many of these have already been enumerated. The one very hot topic at the moment is the county nursing home and rehab center. I think that is probably going to be more or less settled by the time the new board is seated, although I could be wrong. And it will require some ongoing oversight from us for a while. The issues with solar are heating up again. I did serve on the Planning and Zoning Committee when we did the ordinance for the wind turbines, and also when we did the original solar ordinance. And so I do have some familiarity with that. But I think my background as a scientist brings some, I hope, some clarity to issues that may be found there as well. And then overall, the budget is always, it's something that we work with continually. I don't know of any huge threats to the budget at the moment, but it's always needs work.
All right, thank you. Mary, what do you see as the major challenges facing the county board, and how will you work to resolve them?
Okay, there are challenges that we can control, and there are challenges that we don't have that much control over. One we don't have as much control over is inflation. And basically what we can do about that is just try to be as careful in managing the county's finances. Solar, something we can do. And I think the biggest problem with solar is resistance to solar farms that we've encountered, which I found very surprising. But, you know, solar power is the wave of the future. It doesn't damage the wildlife. It actually restores and is helpful to fertile agricultural soils. And I think, you know, advocating for that is extremely important, a major issue.
All right, thank you. And Susan, what do you see as major challenges facing the county board, and how will you work to resolve them?
Okay, I think that there are two major ones. One would be public safety. I mean, that just faces the county. And the second one would be high property taxes. And I think that Illinois has the second highest property tax rates in the country, and DeKalb County has the second or third highest property taxes in the state of Illinois. Now, to me, if I actually felt safe in DeKalb County, I wouldn't mind paying so much in property taxes, but we've seen recently, you know, an increase in murders and drive-by shootings and sexual assaults, burglaries and muggings, and they've become commonplace in DeKalb. I think that with the Safety Act coming along in January, it's going to exacerbate the problem. I think that what the board really needs to do is to support as much as they can the sheriff and all law enforcement officers as they try to deal with this rising crime rate.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, Mary, we'll give you the opportunity. Question number 3.
Okay.
Do you support or oppose climate mitigations for DeKalb County, such as solar farms and wind turbines? Please explain your answer.
Okay, I very much support both solar farms and wind turbines, especially at solar farms, as I have said before, because they do less damage to bird life and they aren't noisy, and because they actually restore agricultural soil. And I would like to see the limits on solar farms increased. They have other advantages. The farmers or property owners who host the solar farm, they are paid money to do so. So it's actually putting money into the county. And also they take up property, much of which is used for growing corn, which is used to produce ethanol, which is a much less efficient way to help with climate change. And
All right,
so
thank you.
Okay.
All right, Susan.
I do support solar solar farms. I think that we have to balance. I don't like telling a property owner what he can and can't do with his own land. I think that this is the most fertile, richest farmland in the country, and I think that there's a balancing act that has to be achieved. I think we've got to balance the rights of the property owner with the need to preserve our farmland. However, I'm not a big proponent of wind turbines. I've found out fairly recently that they really can't recycle those wind turbines, and they only have a useful life of, I think, 25 years. So they actually end up in a landfill, which I think is worse for the environment than not having them at all. So that's kind of where I stand. I am okay with having solar farms.
All right, thank you. Suzanne Willis, question number 3.
Okay, well, to begin with, I actually taught about climate change when I was teaching, and so I looked into it quite a bit, and it's as big of a problem as everybody says that it is. Another thing I want to say is that in order to deal with climate change, there is no one solution or even 2 or 3 solutions. We're going to have to add together a whole lot of different things. So as with the others, I support both solar and wind. As Mary said, the solar farms what they do is they plant native vegetation underneath them, and so that's what restores the soil. In fact, one of the things that's really bad for our agricultural soil is a monoculture. That's why they have to fertilize it every year. The wind turbines are a bit more problematic, and I understand the issue with recycling them. That's a place where a lot of work is being done, and so when those come up 25 years from now, we may very well have more options.
Good, thank you very much. And question number 4, we're going to start with you, Suzanne Lindell. The city of DeKalb estimates that industrial properties have an equalized value of about $28 million. That would bring approximately $9.6 million in new revenue for the county board to allocate. How would you like to see these funds utilized?
Personally, I think that we shouldn't be, jumping to spend any money. What I would like to see is for us to establish a rainy day fund in case something, catastrophic happens and we need the money sometime in the future. I could also see paying down some of the county debt. And finally, since it is the taxpayers' money, it is, I think we might consider taking a portion of it and giving property tax rebates to the taxpayers.
All right, thank you. Suzanne Willis.
Okay, so I think that property tax easements, property tax reductions with the new money coming in is a very good idea. Also, using it for increases in costs, because as you say, inflation happens to be big this year, but it's hardly ever zero. It's always something. So I would like to see us put some of that aside for that. And then we have, over the years, particularly the last 10 years or so, we've had round after round after round of budget cuts. And so there are some departments at the county that are operating with a severely reduced staff. And so I'd also like to be able to look at that and see if we can restore them to at least equity, where they're using their staff efficiently. They don't have too many, but they have enough. And with some of the departments, that's just not true right now.
All right, thank you very much. And Mary.
I would like to see the funds used in the first place to mitigate some of the effects of inflation, pay for the rising costs of services that the county will be having to incur, presumably. I would also like to see it restore some of the financial losses from money being taken out of various county funds to pay for some of the financial losses for the DeKalb County home. And I would like to see some of the money used to help remove the backlog of cases in the county courts, which are rather severe, and also the backlog of cases in the public defender's office. They're gradually getting through those cases, but with extra funding, I think it would move a lot faster.
All right, thank you very much. All right, that wraps up our questions, and now we'll go to a 1-minute closing statement. We'll start with Suzanne Willis, 1 minute.
Thank you. I think many people are not aware of everything that the county board does. Certainly I wasn't before I got onto it. I've learned a lot during my service on things with roads and bridges, the wonderful resources that our forest preserves are, all the kinds of issues that arise with planning and zoning, not just the big ones like wind and solar, but also the individual special use permits that are being requested. And as I mentioned before, I think being a scientist gives me a perspective on things that's a bit different from most. Physics has taught me to think clearly and to be aware of confounding factors and influences as much as I can. I try to base my votes on facts rather than opinions, although just to be clear, the opinions of my constituents, that's a fact for me. Right? It's a fact that they believe that way. And so that's a fact that I need to take into account. Thanks.
Thank you. Suzanne Lindell, 1 minute closing.
Okay, first, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters, WNIJ, and DeKalb Public Library for providing this candidate forum. I have to say, I have never seen myself or even considered running for public office. It just was never in the cards for me. I became kind of alarmed with some of the things that were going on in the country, in the city of DeKalb. And I think that all change starts at the local level. And I was recruited to run, and I felt like it was my civic duty to do that. And so I agreed to do it, kind of hoping that we could make the necessary changes that would be beneficial to everybody in the county. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Mary?
Hi, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and to WNIJ for setting it up virtually, as well as to the DeKalb Public Library. Thanks as well to Catherine Williams for moderating, to Jenna Dooley of WNIJ for technical assistance, and to my co-candidates, Suzanne Willis and my Republican opponent, Susan Smith Lindell, for attending. Although the COVID crisis has somewhat abated, these are still difficult times, and it is more important than ever for citizens to step up and be involved in government. County board service is a particularly useful kind of involvement. During the last 2 years, I have been somewhat surprised by how much board service was bipartisan, even routine. But every once in a while, something really important comes up, like the county nursing home or solar farms, and our research about and vote on the issue can make a huge difference.
Thank you very much. Well, our time for this forum is up now. Your participation as a candidate and as a voter is essential to preserving freedom and democracy in our country. And please remember there's 2 openings for this County Board 10. For more information, please visit the nonpartisan website, illinoisvoterguide.org, where recordings of this forum will be posted, and they'll also be posted on each candidate's page. If you're joining us on Zoom, the Zoom webinar will end after this forum. And if you'd like to join for the next webinar, you'll need to sign back on, but you get to use the same link. And please remember to vote on or before November 8th. We thank you, the candidates, the Voter Service Committee, and WNIJ for organizing this forum. Good night and stay warm.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.